Hello, and thanks for checking out this latest video forecast from Convective Weather. This is Forecaster Nathan Kitchens here on this Tuesday evening, January 5th, 2016. Let's take a look at our satellite image this evening. Well, first off, let's talk about what the main headlines for this update. We are continuing to look at the cold temperatures across the eastern United States. We woke up to some very, very cold temperatures this morning across the eastern United States and across the south as well. We're going to deal with another pretty cold start tomorrow morning before we really see these temperatures kind of rebounding over the next few days across the east ahead of a stronger blast of cold air poised to come in across the upper Midwest this week and spread across much of the country next week. And the big story right now also is the active unsettled weather across the west, series of storm systems coming in, heavy rainfall across parts of California where we really need the rain. While it's great news, we do have to watch for some flash flooding potential and mudslides certainly, and heavy snow across the mountains. So great news for the skiers out there, and that's really the main headlines we're watching for this update. Taking a look at the satellite image this evening, we have mainly clear skies across the eastern United States. This is all setting the stage for another cold night. We have clear skies. We have a dry air mass in place, so really setting up the recipe for a cold night. Clouds here across the central United States associated with a developing storm system. Plenty of clouds across the west here. We had a system coming through, now pushing into parts of the Four Corners region, approaching the Four Corners region here, and a little bit of breaks in the clouds right now across parts of central and western California. But here's our next storm right on the heels here across the. You're getting ready to come on shore before you know it. So tomorrow, this storm will be coming in, producing another round of heavy rain, some snow in the mountains. Heavy snow in the mountains, I should say. So some great news for the drought areas of California. Taking a look at temperatures when you step outside tomorrow morning. Going to be another mighty cold start to the day. Temperatures in the teens will be common across parts of most of New England again. Especially areas that got the snow on the ground will be even colder. Widespread cold here across a good part of the southeast and into the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. Not as cold across parts of the south and especially the central United States because of the increased cloud cover coming in for tonight. Take a look at the current weather alerts across the country. Winter weather advisories here across parts of Nevada and parts of southwest Idaho, southeast Oregon, parts of the Four Corners here. Seeing some numerous winter weather alerts, especially across Utah, Arizona, particularly in northern parts of New Mexico. Winter storm warnings here across parts of the Sierra Nevada, California, and the green here, believe it or not, are flash flood watches for the prospects of more heavy rain coming in over the next few days. And this right here is actually a freeze warning. Believe it or not, because of the warm December and the lack of cold that we've seen, these areas still have some growing vegetation, and with these frigid temperatures that we have, obviously it's going to kill the tender vegetation out there across these areas, so that's why we have a freeze warning here across parts of southern Georgia and Alabama for tonight. Looking at the pattern over the next few days, tomorrow looking like a quiet day across the east, high pressure remaining in control. We're going to begin to see a little bit of recovery tomorrow and over the next few days in the temperature department across the east, while we watch our next storm system kind of developing here across the central United States. Get a bit of a return flow tomorrow, some showers here across the southern plains, a little bit of light snow breaking out later on tomorrow across parts of Iowa and Minnesota. And there's our next storm coming in tomorrow across California with heavy snow in the mountains and heavy rain elsewhere here along the west coast, and some snow here in the mountainous areas as well across the Rockies where we had the winter weather advisories in place. And heading into the day on Thursday, and also tomorrow, I don't want to forget Florida. Parts of southern Florida will be dealing with some showers tomorrow. And across the Florida Keys, we could see as much as 1 to 2 inches of rain tomorrow. And heading into Thursday, watch the storm system gathering shape here. Some rainfall here across the approaching Mississippi Valley here. I know we don't want to see any rain in Missouri. This rain will not be all that heavy. This is not going to be an overly oppressive system, but some showers spreading in on Thursday here. And we're going to see a little bit of light snow coming in on the cold side of this low pressure from Kansas and Colorado up into parts of Minnesota, Nebraska into Minnesota, South Dakota potentially, up towards Wisconsin by Friday afternoon. Here we are by Friday evening. Low pressure in northern Illinois. We have another secondary low pressure showing up here down here in the southern plains during this time. And during the day Saturday, we watched the system push to the north. And the big questions remain on the second storm system. How does this all going to evolve? It is really, honestly, right now, it's just a big mess trying to figure out how this is all going to play out. Um, Basically, we have a lot of energy coming around the base of this trough, and the models are trying to figure out which piece to really key on. And the models are really going to have some struggles over the next few days. So we're going to have to wait a few more model runs before we can really get a better picture of just what's going to come down later on this weekend. Yesterday, some of the models were actually indicating the potential for a little bit of accumulating snow coming through parts of the Ohio Valley. But today, the models have backed off on that, but that doesn't mean we can just discount it, because there is some support looking at the overall pattern, which is basically best you can do right now when the models are doing what they're doing. You just have to look at the overall pattern and ask yourself what you think is going to occur based on my experience, based on what I think. And I still, basically, my experience, what I'm thinking is we still need to watch the secondary low pressure, how quickly that cold air comes down to the south, and how the timing, the spacing between these two systems will be key to how this is all going to play out. And we're going to see a lot of uncertainty over the next few days, so just kind of keep that in mind. Hopefully by tomorrow, especially Thursday, we'll begin to have a little better idea of what may happen here. But overall, the trend right now is for nothing major in the snow department for most areas. But we'll just have to see how that plays out. But one thing for sure, this weekend, it's going to get very cold across the northern plains. Well, the upper Midwest, we're going to see a huge blast of cold air. This cold air is going to come down to the south and east, invading the entire central part of the United States, coming well to the south here as well by early next week, looking very, very frigid across the central United States. This shows up well in the European model, the 850 millibar temperatures. On the Saturday, we see the system coming in. That system that I showed you is now up here in the Great Lakes here Saturday morning, and I'll be continuing to push to the northeast in Ontario during the day Saturday. Again, followed up by that secondary low pressure down here. But cold air coming in behind this low pressure here. We have a chunk, really this is actually a chunk of the polar vortex, believe it or not. Just a little chunk of it kind of breaking off and coming down to the south, and this is going to bring very, very cold temperatures across the upper Midwest. Here we are by Sunday, barbaric cold temperatures here across the upper Midwest. Look at those colors showing up. Whenever you start to see these deep reds showing up, boy, you know it is going to be brutally cold. Certainly haven't seen these kind of readings yet this year, that's for sure. And heading into Sunday and Monday, the cold really starts to come established here across the Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, a good part of the country next week. Going to be very cold, with that coldest air centered across the central part of the country. And you can see throughout the middle of the week the cold kind of remaining in place here. So some very cold air is certainly showing up for next week. That's for sure. And the questions remain on if we'll see snow with it or not. We'll just have to see how things play out over the next few days. Looking at precipitation over the next few days, we're looking at, again, very decent rain totals here across parts of the west here. Heavy snow, this would be equate that to snow here in the mountains, but you can see some pretty heavy rainfall totals over the next several days here, just between now and Saturday. And also some rain here across the central and eastern central U.S. here and across the south. Nothing overly impressive, but nevertheless, we don't want to see any more rain in parts of Missouri, but we're not talking about anything heavy, nothing that should cause too many issues at this point. Well, before I go, I want to kind of show you the GFS, the GFS ensembles, and kind of give you an idea of just how cold the temperatures can actually get. Here we are by Saturday evening. We have temperatures here, -12, -13 here in North Dakota. Very cold air, and that cold air continues to push south and eastward, heading into the day on Sunday. These are high temperatures. These are temperatures Sunday afternoon. We're talking about highs not even getting above out of the single digit below zero readings in parts of Minnesota during the day Sunday. So staying below zero throughout this area here on Sunday. And the cold air continues to push to the south and east. Here we are by Monday afternoon. Highs in the teens and 20s across the Great Lakes and 20s across the Ohio Valley. Below zero here across much of the upper Midwest, again, for highs. And much of the country dealing with some cold temperatures for next week. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this forecast update. Check back for more updates over the next few days as we kind of get an idea of how everything's going to evolve over the next several days. Thanks for watching. Take care.